Today we are looking at a watch from the watch company Feice. Now, I've done a review on some of their watches in the past, specifically their RM homages. They call them the FM. Their RM homages, which are actually pretty decent watches, pretty good quality, but a little on the high end. This watch comes in at about $260 on their website, $270 on Amazon, and it has more of a Bell & Ross feel. You'll see what I mean when we hop into the video. Anyway, I'm Chase. This is All Things Random. Welcome to my YouTube channel, mostly watch reviews with some random stuff sprinkled in between. If you're here, please hit the subscribe button. It's free. Helps the channel. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and let's get right into the review. Now you can see that this is clearly not a small watch. In fact, on my 7¼ inch wrist, this thing fits very, very large. Now you can see the square design is similar to something like a Bell & Ross, but slightly different with their own twist. Not a straight homage, but at least a hat tip and a head nod to the Bell & Ross. So let's go over some dimension sizes. So this watch across the diameter here on the square watch is 50 millimeters. But if I were to bring it in to this bezel right here, the bezel is 43 millimeters. So this thing is quite a large watch. The lug to lug, or the footprint of the watch, is 54 millimeters, and the lug width right here, or band size, is 24. So it is a very large watch. In fact, it reminds me of sort of the Panerais from the early 2000s, the late 10s maybe, that are just massive watches on the wrist. That's kind of what this reminds me of because everything is so big. Now, yes, Bell & Ross does have large straps, are 22 to 24 millimeters. The size of some of the Bell & Rosses are quite large. However, this thing fits pretty big on the wrist. In fact, this is a statement piece if you are going to wear it. This is not going to look good in a suit. I'll just tell you right off the bat. It's only going to look good in something like a leather jacket or a t-shirt, maybe a black polo with some gray pants and some loafers, if that's about as dressy as you're going to get with this watch. This is a very sporty watch. In fact, this thing boasts 100 meters water resistance, which is great because that means you can dive in the water and not really worry about it. The case is made of 316L stainless steel. It is not thin by any means. The watch is 13 millimeters thick, and it does have different finishing on the watch. It is brushed along the top, chamfered edges, brushed with chamfered edges around. You have this black kind of PVD coating with this red. One of the things I don't like is the fact that these look like they are pushers for a chronograph, because if you look, this is a skeletonized watch. However, it's not a chronograph. On the back, it does say Feice FM507, stainless steel, water resistance of 100 meters. It is made in China, and they say this is a limited edition. Now, I've looked everywhere for what kind of movement is in this watch, and I just can't find it. It's clearly going to be a Miyota of some kind, and this is a skeletonized watch. Now, skeletonized watches, for some people are going to hate them, and some people love skeletonized watches. Now, if you love to look at the movement, you can see right here the balance wheel just beating along at probably 21,600 vibrations an hour. If you love the look of a skeletonized watch, then you may love this watch. You can see the barrel spring just there underneath the 12 o'clock. Then you have these two subdials that look like they're just a 24-hour feature, along with another kind of second hand right here that is just following the other second hand. So why did they make this a chronograph? Look, I have no idea. On top, covering the dial, is a piece of flat sapphire, and it does say Feice right here that is printed on that piece of sapphire. Now that you can see it on my 7¼ inch wrist, you can see just how massive this watch really is. It reminds me of, again, those Panerais or even the Richard Meals that someone like Sylvester Stallone would wear back in the early 2000s. It is a nice watch. I've seen nothing but positive reviews on it. If this is your thing, the square design isn't necessarily my thing. I do like square watches, but I'm a minimalist. I'm not the biggest fan of skeletonized watches if it's done well, and I'm not the biggest fan of giant, oversized watches similar to this. This reminds me of an Invicta, but this may be right up your alley, and this thing comes in at about $260. Now, the reason I did this review is not because I think Feice is a great watch brand. It's because there's not a whole lot of reviews out there on Feice watches, and they have done some pretty cool homage watches like the RMs that I've done in the past, the FMs, but they're RM homages that are pretty good quality, but they're pretty expensive for what the company offers. I just want to bring you guys something different. So what do you guys think? Now, there are a lot of pros and a lot of cons about this watch. I feel like there's slightly more cons about this watch than pros, but it's going to come down to your own personal opinion. Is the finishing good on the watch? It's okay for a $300 watch. How about the movement? Well, that's one of the things that really does kind of grind my gears when it comes to watch companies, especially like homage watch companies or micro brands that don't give complete and open transparency on what they're using in their watches. I want to know if it's a Miyota 9039. I want to know if it's a Miyota 8200 series, right? Most people who buy these watches probably do it because it's a fashion statement. However, if you are a watch person who collects watches, who finds values in the watches that they buy, we want to know exactly what's in the watch. I want to know what materials are being used. I want to know what kind of rubber strap is being used. Is it just a rubber strap, a silicone, a fluorine rubber? I want to know what kind of case material it is. I want to know if it's a sapphire or mineral crystal or hesselite. I want to know exactly the movement. I want to know the beat rate. I want to know the power reserve. I want to know everything about that watch because my dollar is worth a lot to me. I put a lot of time, I put a lot of work into my job outside of YouTube. And if I'm going to spend my money on a watch, I want to know everything about it. And I want to know if I'm getting good quality materials. So, Feice, if you're watching this or if a viewer's watching this and you know what's in this watch, please leave it down in the comments below. I would love to know what kind of movement is in this watch without having to tear it apart. Now, if you find values in this video, again, hit that subscribe button. It's free. Hit the notification bell. I have a lot of videos coming out in the future. I'm almost at 15,000 subscribers. The next video is going to be a Tissot Powermatic 80 review. That is going to be a giveaway watch. Then the next video after that is going to be a comparison of integrated watches from a cheap, affordable Casio integrated bracelet all the way up to that entry-level luxury Tissot PRX integrated bracelet. And I have 4 watches that are going to come on the desk for comparison of all different price ranges. Hit the notification bell if you're interested in that video that's coming out probably next week. And I'll see you guys in the next one.